Beth Mackenzie speaking.
Hi, Beth. This is Catriona Smith calling from the Centre for Community-Driven Research. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
That's good. I'm fine, thank you. Just checking this is still an okay time to talk?
Yeah, it's fine.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, first of all, a slight apology. I'm unable to get onto our website where I click off each of the questions. So if you hear paper rustling, it's just me using the paper copy. So we'll start the interview now. Over the course of the interview, I'll be asking you step by step to talk about your experience with eczema. You'll have plenty of time, so you don't need to rush. In the first part of the interview, I'll ask you about your diagnosis. After that, I'll ask a few questions about your treatment. And in the last part of the interview, you'll have a chance to talk about what you think should happen in the future to improve treatment, support and services. Do you have any questions before we start?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Just let me know if anything occurs to you.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll start with when you first began to notice symptoms of eczema. Can you describe that for me, please?
I've actually had it my whole life. So
Oh, okay.
I think I had a bit of a conversation with my mum about it a couple of weeks ago, but I think she said I had it from about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of diagnosis, I'm probably going to be very useless with that information because I honestly can't remember. I've just had it my whole life.
Okay. The next question is, can you describe how you came to be diagnosed with eczema? So that's a little difficult, but what did your mum tell you?
I think we went to sorry, I've just got a cough. That's a good question. I think I grew up in Sydney and I started, so how everything started was I had, I think it was bronchitis. They diagnosed me with as a kid or baby, which triggered then my asthma, which then triggered other things. So for eczema, I just got rashes, and then my mum being a nurse, realized it might be something more and took me to a pediatrician, and I think that's sort of it. Is then they were like, oh yeah, she actually has eczema.
Okay. Have you had any other tests for it sort of as you grew up, or just the diagnosis when you were young?
When I was a kid, they did a food allergy test. And so for a year, I think this was around the age of 2 or 3, for a year my mum put me on a really strict food diet. So couldn't have wheat, couldn't have dairy, there was a whole list of things. And she did it very vigilantly for a year, and she said that it didn't really make a difference.
Okay. Has anyone ever spoken to you about having a test to see if you have any genes, or sometimes they're called biomarkers or mutations, that might have contributed to your condition or might be targetable with treatment?
It's been brought up, but it hasn't been done because there's a new treatment coming. Well, my immunologist said it's going to probably be around July next year. That does look at like the whole treatment point of it is to get those biomarkers. I think that's what it is. Something to do with your biology. But it's been brought up but never done.
Okay. Do you think you might be doing it next year then, from what your immunologist said?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. When you were diagnosed with eczema, did you know much about your condition? Now, I know that you're 6 months old, but like if you just tell me what you can remember, sort of the earliest age that you knew about your condition.
I don't think my parents really knew much about it. Like my mum, I've asked her this a couple of times because she's been an emergency nurse for 30-something years. And I said to her, even before you had me, was there much knowledge of it? And she said, she's always said the only reason she knows as much about eczema as she does is because of me.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's sort of, I guess, learnt as we've gone on.
Yeah. And then you've learnt from her.
And then I've learnt from that as well, especially because I've sort of taken it over in the last probably half my life. I've had to take it over because I got, you get to 13 and your mom's like, you can manage your stuff now.
Yeah.
So I think when I took over the responsibility of having to do creams every night and everything, I sort of just learned quickly as well. When you don't do that, it actually flares up.
Yeah. And so along the way, since the age of 13, have you sort of gone on and done your own research?
Probably so it was pretty manageable up until about, when was this, 2000 and, I lived in Canada for 3 years of my life, so 97 and 98 to 2001, and when I was there, it completely disappeared. My ex-man went away. It was amazing. And then we came back and we moved to Brisbane, and sort of probably it was manageable up until I got to the first 2 weeks of grade 12, which was 2008, the beginning of 2008, so nearly 10 years ago. And for the first 2 weeks, my neck, like from my jawline all the way to my chest, my upper chest, completely got like covered in rashes. It was just 2 weeks that were just unbearable. Complete. It was horrible. And then so that sort of, I think at that point was when I sort of took more interest in it, but sort of got more involved with why, because my uncle was the only other family member, up until that point who had it. So he stopped having it around that age. So for me still having it was a bit of a, why is this happening? This isn't fair. And then I kind of read into more things, and at that point I think I moved on from childhood eczema to reading up about adult eczema, and 2% or whatever it is of people that still have it.
Okay. Can you describe how often you have a flare-up of your eczema, and when that happens, do you need to have any additional tests or treatments?
Oh, I've had a few this year. I probably have them every couple of months. Like at the moment, my skin's pretty good, but in October, so August, I was just, my whole body, head to toe, was painful. I was, basically just went to I actually had a doctor's appointment the next day, but he gave me, some different medication.
Okay. But you haven't had any additional tests or treatments due to a flare-up? No, just the recent one where the doctor gave you an additional medication.
Yeah, I went to my dermatologist recently because that's the first time I've actually got in to see him. But it was there was no difference. It was just, this is what we've done. We'll put you on some different creams, like we'll try these ones. But no tests.
Okay. Did the different creams help?
It has so far, actually, yeah.
That's good. All right. In relation to your eczema, are you able to tell me what your current prognosis is? Do you know how long you'll have it, or whether it'll get any better?
Well, according to my GP, he basically said I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. Which is when you're sitting there, trying to, and you've had a few things happen, and you're hoping it's going to go away at some point. Hearing that's a little bit of a blow. I, to be honest, feel like no one really knows, or if there ever is going to be a cure for it. And even my dermatologist said, he was like, you've pretty much got the worst, like, the highest category of, worst eczema for adults or whatever they call it. But
All right. Well, we'll talk a bit later about the types of treatments you've experienced. But to start with, I'd like to ask you about the discussion